I just came to the realization that like if you're 40 years old, you're fucked. Like you're never gonna find love. Like, oh my God. Sorry, I woke up like really, really emotional because I was married for, oh my God, I need to stop. I was married for over 20 years and like I was so used to being a wife. Like I loved being married, you know? Like I love being a wife. I love having like that one person I love coming home to and like venting all my shit to. And now it's like,
So, you listen to her and she's recalling how she actually loved marriage. And then it's like the first thing that comes to her mind is that she misses just complaining to somebody, to be there to listen to her complain. She didn't miss the companionship. She didn't miss the reciprocation of love and spending time together and having someone next to you. No, she immediately goes to, I miss someone being there to handle what I'm going through right now. I miss a guy, I miss my emotional tampon, and I haven't been able to find one since. Like, that's the first thing she says. I miss having someone to vent to. My God. Can you imagine? Look, and when I say that, I mean it's like having to deal with that constantly. She's talking here, and we don't really know who actually initiated the divorce, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was her, considering how often it is the woman, and also how often these women that do initiate the divorce, well, they still go online and cry about it. So I wouldn't really be surprised. And I also wouldn't be surprised because the first thing she says she misses about marriage is having someone to vent to. So, yeah, maybe the guy didn't like being your emotional tampon constantly having to be there to listen to you vent. I'm not saying that's like a bad thing, because I think a lot of men, if they're in a relationship with a woman, it is like a great thing to be that rock for her. And that's again, it's like that's kind of honestly kind of a gender role that is expected of men, to be there for these women and be that rock and help and be the composure and help them realize everything's going to be okay. And then women will claim like, oh, we want that too. We also want that from men. We also want men to come to us and vent to us just as much as we vent to them. And that's bullshit. But what that does is it allows them to continue saying, we want a partner. We want egalitarianism. When really, you give it to them and they don't like it. So just keep in mind, that's always going to be a gender role expected of men. That's kind of why she immediately went to it.
yeah, you date people and like sparks fly, and then it's just like, oh, I found better, you know? I think some of you guys missed my story time because, I don't know, I posted the dumbest video of me at Home Depot. It didn't go viral. But, like, I was talking to my ex again, and there was a TikTok, there was I had a fan on here, a TikTok follower that messaged me, and she said, hey, I started talking to this guy and I noticed on his Instagram, like those highlight reels, you were in one of his highlight reels, like you guys made a TikTok together. And I was like, oh yeah, that's my boyfriend, because we were like trying to work things out. It was long distance, whatever. And she's like, oh, well, we're talking. He said he was single. And I'm like, I'm not even crying about that. I think I'm just more sad about the fact that, like, it's impossible. It's impossible to find someone that you will 100% trust. And part of it has to do with me too, because of my insecurities. But honestly, 99% of the time, it's because they're cheating, you know, because it's so accessible. Social media, talking to other women. Why do I still have my fucking seatbelt on?
So here's the thing. She's talking about these guys, and she's like, what happens is they have so many options on social media, they end up cheating. And you're going to realize, because I found a couple other clips from her TikTok account. I mean, some of these chicks make it too easy for me. I got to say, it's too easy. But the next couple clips I put in here, you'll realize why she's still single, why she seems to be running into men who keep cheating on her.
Anyway, I need to do a story time. I just had a vent. I fucking hate people who cry on here.
and she has to vent to her phone because she no longer has a man to vent to handle her emotional instability.
But I hope you guys are having a good day.
So this is her again, and I don't know if I'm going to get copyrighted by this music. Can that be copyrighted? I don't know. So this is her, and the caption says, "Looking for a boyfriend, preferably 6'3", handsome, can dance, and he can sing. He goes to church, he cooks, he travels, so he's well-traveled. Treats me with respect, but apparently they died or they're not born yet." All right. And look at her sipping her coffee with her hand tattoos and whatnot. And then this is her next clip. She says,
I have 15 more pounds.
So basically it's a skit, but the caption itself says, "When you meet a guy and think you vibe, but the way he stands gives you the ick."
To lose till I hit my goal weight. So many lettuce. Actually kind of good. No, that's not good. What the fuck?
I feel like no.
So that was supposed to be like her way of making a joke where at first, he seems great, seems good, and then he stands weird. And all of a sudden, she's just completely turned off. So you go back to the first clip and she's crying and complaining. And then you see these two clips and it's like, oh yeah, well that's why. That's why you can't find a man. Shocker.
What the fuck?
I feel like not
Many, many such cases.
enough people warn you that when you start making the right choice in dating, start going for emotionally available men that are genuinely interested in you and make that very clear from the get-go, it gets a little bit more boring. Dating gets a little bit more boring because it's no longer up, down, will they, won't they, this like chemical, like you're getting rewarded one second and you're not the next. You're getting consistent, predictable behavior, and that to the brain.
You sound like a drug addict. See, it's like they're fixed. Situationships, they become addicted to them. It's like they're crack cocaine. They're addicted to that shit. This is not healthy dating. You shouldn't look at it like this. Tell me you've had a bunch of short-term relationships without actually telling me. I mean, obviously, these women have become accustomed to the exciting nature of early relationships. I understood this at a very, very young age that like there's phases of meeting someone. At first, it's exciting. You don't know each other. And it's like, oh, wow, of course, it's the early stages of a relationship. And then you start to know each other more. And that kind of does calm down a little bit. But the way a lot of these young women look at it, it's like a drug. They no longer have that drug. It's like the attachment they have to that excitement is unhealthy. And it's weird and wrong. And it's like a sign of strange times to where that's how they view it. You're approaching relationships in the wrong way. And it kind of backs up what I often say is that a lot of these modern women just aren't really built for long-term relationships. And it's honestly their mistake for thinking they're capable of doing so. You have a woman like this who seems to think that now she's going to go ahead and try this. She's going to try to become a girlfriend and eventually a wife. But again, perhaps it's on her for thinking she's capable of doing so. You listen to the way she speaks about this. She sounds like a drug addict recovering from heroin and just like misses it. Now the day-to-day things just really aren't as exciting without her heroin. And it just, you listen, it's like you are damaged.
It's not exciting. Otherwise, drugs wouldn't be exciting to people. It's very predictable, smooth sailing, and stable. And while that's great in the long term because you don't go crazy, it also makes you realize that, I'm not going to have these quick dopamine hits in like a kind of toxic way. But that's the reality. If you want to continue dating high school level emotional maturity men, then go for it. Keep going for those men that don't choose you, that text you every 5 days. Or you can go for the guy who will respond to you as soon as he sees his message. Like, it's not like, it might be less exciting, but it's in the long term. It protects your heart, your brain, your nerves.
Yeah, I mean, that's common sense, no? Just pretty crazy, and I don't really know. I don't know that I have much more to add to that. She sounds completely crazy, and she says this. She's like, yeah, I've approached this point in my life to where now I realize it's time to go for the good guy, whatever. Yeah, good luck to whoever ends up with that. It's like, oh, great, I get to be the guy that's like boring and stable. Yeah, that's a good foundation for this relationship. It's great to know that you view this healthy relationship as kind of boring. Great. And this is the state of the young modern woman. This is how she perceives long-term relationships, where she's not constantly having to question where this guy is and how he feels about her. And again, it's just validates what I say, and it's that a lot of them aren't built for long-term relationships.